Does this new reality represent a fundamental overthrow of the Western dominance of the conduct of war? MacGregor Knox has written of the difficulties of using history as a guide to the future, that the owl of history is an evening bird. The past as a whole is unknowable. Only at the end of the day do some of its outlines dimly emerge. The future cannot be known at all, and the past suggests that change is often radical and unforeseeable rather than incremental and predictable. Yet despite its many ambiguities, historical experience remains the only available guide both to the present and to the range of possibilities in the future. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 only increased America's economic and military dominance. Nevertheless, one might characterize the 30 years that followed with the phrase Churchill used to describe the 1930s, the locust years. These recent years saw the United States not only pursue decisive victory in Iraq and Afghanistan, but embrace the delusion that it could remake those societies. How to explain the extraordinary missteps of American strategy in that era? Perhaps it is useful to contrast the worldviews of the presidents and those who advised them on strategic issues in the 40 years before 1992 with those that have come since. Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Dwight Eisenhower, John Kennedy, Richard Nixon, and Ronald Reagan were all to some extent students of history, and many of those who advised them also possessed a deep sense of the past. They included George Marshall, George Kennan, Henry Kissinger, George Shultz, and James Schlesinger. The presidents since 1992 have been remarkable for their lack of interest in history. Bill Clinton's hunt for the mantra of globalization had a disastrous impact not only on the economic future of the United States, but on the nation's policies and, ironically, even his political party. Barack Obama may have been one of the most intelligent American presidents, but one can sum up his lack of understanding of the world outside Columbia and Harvard by his disastrous policies toward the drawdown of U.S. forces in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, and the line in the sand in Syria. Then, of course, there is Donald Trump, who has rarely, if ever, opened a book, much less a history book.